I keep saying it every time. Black Americans built America. I don't know why people keep saying stuffs. People keep making imaginations. We are not going to stop saying it before you claim it. Okay? We'll keep saying it here before it gets finally claimed. Watch these videos and see some of those histories. I'll be back to finish it for you. How kind of no, this is crazy. No, watch it and see.
Frederick Douglass and Martin Delany said, "You better let us up in this war." Abraham Lincoln didn't let us in a war because he cared about black folks. He was losing and we saved his ass. I said the black man in the Civil War saved America. Stop walking around this country like they did you a favor. You built this damn country. You protected this country. That's right. You guarded this country. You fought in every war. Stop letting these Asian immigrants and these Ukraine immigrants and these Afghani immigrants and these Latino immigrants and these Arab immigrants make you think that this is their country and you just a visitor. You built this damn country. You built this damn country, brothers and sisters. You the reason America has never been taken over by a foreign power.
Can we talk? Don't mind me. I literally just got done with the golf tournament, and it got me thinking about this whole Ralph Lauren and Oak Bluffs situation. And I must say, this is a friendly reminder that black people are not a monolith. We literally built this country for the free, okay? Every inch of this country, we are embedded in it, quite literally. You are going to see black millionaires. You are going to see black billionaires. You are going to see black golfers. You are going to see black drug dealers. You are going to see black movie stars. You're going to see black fashion designers. Every inch of society, because we built this for free, we going to be a part of. And this whole narrative that somehow that we don't have upper echelon black people, black Americans, the descendant of the enslaved, the fact that y'all find it so hard to fathom, y'all proving our point every single day, that y'all try to deny our existence while appropriating our sauce. And y'all really need to stop that, because everything that you think you can do, we do it too. Okay? We might do it on a different level, we might do it at a different scale, but anything that you see any other group in America do, I'm pretty sure some black people do it. Okay? Just like Beyonce in the country album, like, y'all not the first people to do country music. Y'all not the first people to play soccer. Y'all not the first people to do Formula One. Y'all not the first people to do like NASCAR. Like, we've all, every inch of society, black people have been a part. And yet y'all continue every single chance y'all get to erase us, because y'all just don't want to accept the fact that y'all brought us here against our will to build up a society for free. And y'all are mad because we are coming to collect, and we've been collecting, and we take up space, and you just gonna have to get used to it. I don't care how many times y'all try to bitch and moan and cry and all of this stuff, blah 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 blah. Those exit polling, I will never let that live. Like, ever. I will never let nobody live that down. That exit polling showed just how much you think of us, okay? And it's sad. It's really, really sad, because we could be further in a society as like than we are right now. But because of complete racism and hatred for people that look like me, the descendants of the enslaved, those that were stole and made, to work for free and breed for free, what y'all expect us to do? We ain't going back, because thanks to y'all, we really rarely have records going further than a census report, because y'all damn sure didn't keep a good record of the slaves that y'all owned. So yeah, y'all get to live with us taking up space in every inch of American society, because we built this shit for free. Okay, bye.
I got on this app months ago and said that Philip Anthony Mitchell was a prop. And what did y'all say? It's because you like sinning. I said, no, I can hear the white nationalist talking points in him. When he said, oh, you all need to submit to the police. Jesus wasn't a black man. Now, this past week, what did he say? He's a conservative. He also said that he want to make clear this is not a black church. Did nobody ask you that? Why did you have to clear it up that your church wasn't a black church? Nobody asked you that. Then what else he say? Black people are making their skin color their God. Yeah. Ask yourself this: who is fueling his ministry. See, what they do is he wearing all black, he black and bald. It distracts you from what he's saying, but because he's saying the same thing that enslaved y'all. Anyway, ask yourself, who is fueling his ministry?
You calling black Americans lazy? Lazy compared to who? Because we built this joint. While other folks were fleeing their countries, black Americans were holding the line. Let's talk about it. Let's keep it a buck. When these anti-black racists, especially some of these immigrant groups, run around calling black Americans lazy, that's not only disrespectful, that's historically ignorant. Foundational black Americans weren't fleeing anything. Many of us was here already, and then many of us was dragged here in chains, but we still built the country from scratch. Now, how did we survive 400 years of government-backed oppression and still manage to produce the culture, the innovation, and the infrastructure that everybody eats off today? So my question is, lazy compared to who? I'm not going to say no names, but a lot of y'all jumped on rafts, inner tubes, buses, planes, and anything else you could find, the moment things got rough in your homeland. You didn't stay and fight, you fled. And what you do when you got here? You ain't join hands with us or uplift the people that fought to make this land more livable. You delineated. You signed up for the white adjacency program. Then you start looking down on the people who fought to make your American dream possible. Let's add some scholarship to it. Black labor created trillions in wealth for America, free of charge. Just cotton alone, by the Civil War, accounted for 60% of U.S. exports. The Homestead Act in 1862 gave away 270 million acres of land, and none of that went to black people. The GI Bill, Social Security, FHA loan, all strategically excluded black people. Meanwhile, we still built black Wall Streets, black towns, and invented what needed to be invented, and we kept pushing forward. So lazy, we never fled, we stayed, we built, and we still building. So the next time somebody calls black Americans lazy, just ask, lazy compared to who? Because we didn't run, we built.
So this here is a picture of the infamous Oak Valley Plantation down in New Orleans, right? And if you scroll on TikTok, just type it in the search bar, you'll see a lot of people who've made videos about it, and the way they speak about it when they advertise this place is, they marvel. It's so beautiful. They love the landscaping, the architecture, the structure that is the the big house or whatever. Now, if you actually go there, they do take on a historical tour or whatnot, but it's advertised on like social media as its beauty. You know what I'm saying? So much to the point where they even host weddings here. Like, white people love to get married on plantations. It's weird. But the funniest thing of it all, they marvel at the beauty of this type of plantation, right? Or plantation period. They love these houses, the infrastructures, the landscaping, the designs, right? But they love it so much, but don't want to acknowledge the one key part or the component of all of this is it was all built by black people. That's the craziest part about it. Oh, these houses are built to the test of time. They stand, da 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 da. It's like, you make black people seem like we're inferior, we're not smarter, smart enough, we're not good enough, but we're using the tongue and groove method to build these very structures that stand the test of time. Planting and landscaping the fields that y'all love so much. Literally crafted these very structures that y'all admire, adore, to the point where you even get married in these things. So with all this, white pride that's going around right now because, Trump's in office. How, when black people literally say we built this country, this is what they mean. The entire infrastructure of the South was built by black people, and an extension of the North, because the money that funded the federal government came from slave labor from the South. So it's a very interesting paradox where you despise us and don't want us to have so much. We can't be equal to you. You fight so hard to uphold white supremacy, yet you love, you admire, and you marvel at the very things that were built by our hands, and refuse to give credit to that or acknowledgement.
The Jubilee presentation with Amanda Seals, the 1 verses 20, shows further that a lot of people in the diaspora, the Caribbean and Africa, they tend to think that they are better than or more superior than black Americans. And I'm here to tell you guys, because I told you before and I'm telling you again, had it not been for black Americans, we would not be here. We are walking and living and existing in this country because of the blood and the tears and the sweat of black Americans. They built this country, and they were never compensated for everything they did for these United States of America. They were not given the rightful pay for the work they did, and they're still paying to this day. And you come here and you're running off your mouth. Thanks to Black Americans, you got the right to come here in this country, running at your mouth, acting like you're better than Black Americans, or acting like you get to where you were because of your parents. Now, if your parents were not born here, they also benefited from the hard work and the blood of our Black American brothers and sisters. Guys, we need to stop this madness. We don't have the right, we don't get the right to come here and be like you people. And talking, I don't care about you and your conservative talking point, but you have to have the knowledge, you have to have an understanding of history. You, before you come here running off at the mouth, you should at least get some understanding about the Black American experience, about slavery and how it affected the Black family, and how slavery is still affecting Black Americans to this day. There is so much proof around. Like Amanda spoke about redlining, but there is like so much proof. She spoke about the prison system, that Black people suffer under this system, and the system was created for them to fail. We have to appreciate what they have done for us to make it possible for us to be here existing freely. We have to do better. We must do better, guys, because these are the things that are creating the division amongst us as Black people.
Arabs ain't built America, Black people built America. Chinese ain't built America, Black people built America. Jews ain't built America, Black people built America. Mexicans ain't built America, Black people built America. Anglo-Saxons ain't built America, I built America. So don't talk to me about no damn minority set-asides, because I'm not no damn minority. That's for your immigrants. I was not an immigrant. My ancestors were imported. My ancestors were imported. My ancestors were not immigrants. My ancestors were imports. Remember, you didn't even consider them people. Remember, I am not an immigrant. I am an import. And as an import, there is no other group you can lump me in with. And Black people, this is why we got to be unapologetically African.
I'm talking about Black people in leadership and the ability for us to advance in that leadership. There has never been a place where we have had the majority of leadership at a state level, Democrat or Republican. As Black folk, when we were Republicans and we elected a bunch of Black folks, we never had the majority. We got to parity during Reconstruction. We never got to the majority. And we were Republicans then. Now we are Democrats. There's not a place in this country where Black people have become the majority. I've been talking about a new Black South for the last 8-9 years, because the only way Black people in America are ever going to see true equity and justice is when the Black folks that move to Detroit and LA and New York and Newark and all of these places come back to the South, and we get critical mass. Louisiana's 33%.
Why would
34.
they move out
Louisiana's
of those
34%.
economic boom houses that you just mentioned?
Because we need to be willing to build something. Because we as Black people need to be willing to build something.
Why would Black people leave? Which is a great question. Why would they leave out of those great economic places where they're doing well with their families? Why would they leave and come back to the South? She already said they're leaving,
because there's a ton of them leaving because of the affordability issues, and we understand that. The second piece of that is there's a bunch of us that need to be willing to build something, to commit to building,
make the sacrifice,
to building something that is lasting. The same way after Reconstruction, when we had nothing, we built Black institutions, we built Black hospitals, we built Black community centers, we built all of the things that we have. Howard Hospital exists because Black people came together and said we need an education for our children. Southern University Law Center exists because Black people came together and said that they wanted to have a place to educate themselves. We need to get back in the business of building something that is lasting for us, and the only place that we as Black people can get critical mass is the South. again, to my point, Mississippi is 37% black. Louisiana's 34% black. Georgia's 33% black. If a pinch of our cousins leave Detroit, LA, San Francisco, and all of these cities and come back to the South and commit to building, good sister, then we can have the future that we desire. And the individualism that you talk about and all of those things is possible, but it's possible in a safety net of black leadership.
The black family who built America. Break it down from your great-great-grandfather, how he started and where it came from.
Moses McKissick the first.
That's right.
Okay, so let me start with saying I am the proud CEO of a 5th generation business in America. And I know Charlemagne keeps calling it 7 generations. He's just calling in the girl behind me.
Okay.
And her children, my grandkids.
He got in trouble for that earlier today. She was like, one of the producers was like, it's 5th generation.
I keep saying 7. I thought it was 7 generations.
Because that's what it's going to be.
Yep, manifesting. He's speaking
That's
into
right.
existence.
He's manifesting. So we date back 230 years in this country, starting with the first descendant of our family, Moses McKissick I, who came to this country in 1790 as a slave and was taught the trade of making brick. His son was Moses McKissick II, and he was a master carpenter. And he actually started in North Carolina, but he was given as a gift to the Cheers family in Nashville, Tennessee, or Spring Hill. And so that's when the McKissicks moved from North Carolina to Tennessee. He had 7 girls and then 7 boys. And his first son is Moses McKissick the third, and his brother Calvin. And they became the first black licensed architects in America.
Wow.
Sure you don't want that one to stand?
Take yours. You need to take the small. There you go.
And anyway, they were known because they traveled all through the Northeast and the South. They built over 6,000 churches. They built 13, 14 historically black colleges. All the colleges, all the buildings at Fisk University are pretty much designed by Calvin and Moses McKissick. Meharry Medical School, Tennessee State University, Tuskegee. And so they worked all through the South. They also got an opportunity to go to Haiti and work with Papa Doc, and then over to Africa. So these men were very innovative. And the company was then passed down to my father, William D. Berry McKissick. And so now we're 4 generations in, if you haven't lost count.
All right.
And then the company was passed down to my mother, who was a fierce leader all by herself. And then eventually I stepped in and took over the company as the 5th generation.
When I read this book and I see how this empire started in the 1800s, it reminds me of how resilient black people are.
Yes.
And we can navigate our way through anything. So it gave me a sense of hope, especially for the times that we're in now. Has it always given you that sense of pride?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you think about it, 1 in 5 businesses fail the first year. 65% fail in 10 years, and the average family business only lasts 24 years. Now, the chances for a family business to pass down to a 2nd generation is like 60%. The chances of it passing to a 3rd is 14%, and to a 4th generation is 3%. So here we are at 5 generations. And so I think what we do in the book is we make a case as to how the McKissicks were able to do that. And it goes all the way back to slavery. So slavery was different in every state. You know, like North Carolina was probably the most lenient of slaves at the time compared to, let's say, Alabama and some other states. South Carolina. And really, it's because they didn't have as many of the huge plantations. Slave masters had more like 12, 13, 14, 15 slaves. So the slaves were more like extended family. They didn't have to be suppressed. And we saw a plantation where there was a family of 5 people, but there were 300 slaves working for them. So who had the power?
That's right.
Right? So you have to suppress the 300 people if you want to survive. And so it wasn't like that in North Carolina. So we make that case that, you know, the leniency of slavery in that state must have helped the McKissicks get to where they are. And that's what we have to do is tell our stories, and that's what our book does. It's a receipt.
Me personally, HBCUs, I always wanted to go to one, and I actually regret not going to one, but a part of me always felt guilty about even applying to HBCU because I don't want to take away I don't want to take away the opportunity for a Black American applicant. Yes, I'm a Black person, but I'm a Black Caribbean. I don't fit under the Black American ethnic cultural group. I fall under the Caribbean and the Latino category. You get what I'm saying? Like, and HBCUs, y'all not gonna like this, but oh well. The shit about to hit the fan, bitch. I said what I said, and I ain't changing on it. HBCUs are for Black American people. Okay? These prestigious colleges and universities were founded, funded, okay, and built by Black American people. So a part of me felt guilty about even applying, which is why I never submitted an application. Even after I left BMCC, I wanted to go to HBCU, and I'm just like, fuck it. I'm gonna go to school in the city. I'm gonna go to Hunter College, and I'm gonna just call it a day. Like, would I have loved the experience of going to HBCU? I know I would have absolutely adored it. Okay, but again, I wouldn't want to take away an opportunity or the opportunities from a Black American applicant. I wouldn't want them to choose me over them. I don't know. In my mind, that's just how my shit is wired. I just feel like that's crazy.
The building of America started in the early 1600s, around 1619, where white Americans enslaved Africans, where they used chattel slavery in order to dehumanize them and sell them as property. What chattel slavery did was it made people less than human, so they were able to sell them, inherit them, buy them, and trade them as cattle, as less than humans, as animals. So they used chattel slavery in order to enrich themselves. They kept all the profits, they gave none to the Africans, and they used it as free labor. Free labor equals mass profits. And by the time 1800s came around, that's 200 years later, the United States was the #1 exporting cotton because enslaved Africans worked in the industry as cotton pickers, rice, tobacco, and sugar. And the United States, because of free labor from Africans, they became the #1 exports in cotton, and which powered the textile industry. And when the textile industry got power through the United States and Europe, white industries became powerhouses through African slavery. And none of the profits, none of the proceeds went to any of the African slaves. They all went to white families. So they handed down through generations profits and major wealth to white families due to African slavery.
Black Americans are one of the most privileged people in the world, and we have to talk about it more.
Please do tell me how privileged Black Americans are.
Here's the average salary in Mexico, in Ukraine, in Egypt, in Vietnam, all big countries with huge economies from different continents. And here is average welfare check in USA. You see the difference?
You missed already. I guess cost of living just doesn't exist. Cost of living in Mexico compared to the United States, Ukraine compared to the United States, Egypt compared to the United States, and Vietnam compared to the United States. So while we can just say, oh, these are very big economies and look at the difference in wage compared to the welfare checks, we must take into account how much money it actually costs to live in a given society in order to determine whether or not these things are disproportionate. And given that in every fucking country you just mentioned, the cost of living is so much lower than the United States, you can understand why the difference is there. Also, this video is supposed to be about how privileged Black people are, but the first thing he talks about is welfare checks. Also claiming that a group of people are privileged because a welfare check was set at an amount that's higher than another country's wage is fucking dumb, considering the people that live in the country with the welfare checks are considered poor for that country in that economy that they need to live in. So saying, oh my god, you're considered poor here, but you wouldn't be in a different country is as dumb as saying, oh, you were just raped? Well, guess what? People have died, so you must be privileged.
People all over the world have to work hard for this money, while people in America are getting more for doing absolutely nothing, just because they are born in the United States.
Miss number 2, it'd be a damn shame if the majority of people on welfare are actually working. Because, oh yeah, while we can complain about how high the welfare checks are compared to other countries, it isn't even enough to live in America off of, which forces people who are even working full-time to still work a job while being on government assistance. Again, because while we can play Oppression Olympics, context matters.
Now just imagine being born in Harlem, New York, one of the richest cities in the world, in one of the richest countries in the world, and complaining about not being able to get out of the ghetto, while some Middle Eastern refugee has to smuggle himself to America illegally in a cargo bay of the ship, not having home, not having money, not having citizenship, just to get the slightest chance at life that you had since birth.
It's a damn shame you don't even realize how stupid this just was. Level 1, let's talk about your logic. This essentially boils down to don't ask for anything more if you're already receiving more than somebody else. Which, for obvious reasons I would hope, makes zero fucking sense. That Middle Eastern refugee who had to smuggle himself on a ship in order to make it to America has it measurably better than a Southeast Asian kid who will live and die in the same village buried under plastic and trash from our pollution. Does that mean we should make no effort to make it so that Middle Eastern refugees shouldn't have to smuggle themselves into the country to have a good life? Does that mean that those Middle Eastern refugees should just shut up and acknowledge the fact that they're more privileged than somebody else? Fucking no! And if you say yes, then you're counteracting everything your entire video is about. Hence why Oppression Olympics is a dumb game to play. Level 2 of why this is stupid. Let's run the actual numbers. Seeing as you mentioned refugees coming to America, let's compare them to black people in America. Again, context matters. After 5 years in the United States, refugees have a median household income of $22,000. After 15 years, that grows to $37,000, and after 50 years, it grows to $67,000. Black people in the United States had a median household income of $30,400 in 1970. 51 years later, that number is $48,297, which means if we run the numbers on that, in the same amount of time it has taken refugee household income to grow by $45,000, black household income has grown by $17,897. So if I wanted to stoop down to your level and assume that money, devoid of all context, immediately denotes privilege, who is more privileged in the United States? This very point is something that you go on to contradict yourself on 2 seconds later when you go on to say,
and please, don't give me that excuse about America being racist. Here's the list of richest households in the United States by ethnicity. White people are not even in top 5. How could they all be so prosperous if the country is so racist?
Bucko, I don't even think you realize what you're saying here. This is exactly why context matters, because I'm not sure what privilege you're trying to preach to black people about, when not only do all the other Americans make more money than black Americans, average Americans make more money than black Americans. Would you really make the argument that for any other demographic in any other country, them making less than what the average person in their country makes is them having privilege? No, the hell you wouldn't, which is why you try to bring it to a worldwide context, because as soon as you start talking about American context, you get blown the fuck out of the water and start trying to disprove racism by Obama.
Can you name any other dominantly white country that had black president for 2 terms in a row?
Who's gonna tell him that the next president started a rumor that he wasn't even born here simply because he was black? Now we can talk about how a lot of these immigrant groups you mentioned have higher rates of college degrees, which is something that is quite literally selected for prior to immigration into this country, meaning a disproportionate amount of them coming over with education already, which is why they make so much more than the native-born population. We can talk about how Asian Americans have not faced the same institutional barriers as black people. We can talk about Harlem and how you're apparently confused that many black people can't make it out the ghetto.
And you can't get out of the ghetto, really? Man, maybe take a subway?
When the city was redlined to high hell. East Harlem had the 7th lowest household income among 55 other New York neighborhoods, and almost 1/3 of households lived below the federal poverty line, and how it was literally the birthplace of the very renaissance that was an artistic backlash to intense anti-black racism in the country. We can talk about the fact that while yes, slavery and racism exist in countries all over the world, the slavery that built the new world was chattel and racialized, which is something that was unique, that was not found in the Middle East, in Africa, or in Europe prior. But something tells me that if you don't even have the brain cell count to realize that you just made an entire video about why black people are privileged while using the same racist, factually incorrect statements that have been used since 20 years after slavery to justify why black people are in such shit positions, then something tells me you're not ready for that conversation. I award you no points. May God have mercy on your soul.
Has an update on how the neighborhood is coming along and is giving us an inside look.
The developer says people have already moved into 20 of the 29 homes in South Park Cottages, and the ball is already rolling on the next location, Union City. Crews are putting the finishing touches on the final 9 tiny homes. 16 months after construction began, all 29 have been sold.
The money they spend is directly impacting this community. College Park will now get, and Fulton County will now get tax revenue from this community that didn't exist before.
Plus, developer Booker Washington says micro-communities are also keeping more money in the residents' pockets.
I'm saving about maybe $2,000. I'll be passing this down to my son.
Equity. With rent continuously on the rise across Metro Atlanta, Janice Williams chose to buy for the same size space.
I was considering getting an apartment because I'm downsizing from a 5-bedroom house on the south side, and it was just too much. My son moved out. He has a new baby, a new family he's building, and my mother is elderly. She couldn't go up and down the 16 flights of steps to her bedroom. It just makes more sense.
Williams has been in the neighborhood for 3 weeks. Washington says there are several other residents like her, singles, single parents, couples, and retirees.
The residents of South Park are diverse. They range from 40,000 upwards to millionaires that live here.
The average rent in Metro Atlanta is about $2,000 a month. Washington says the average mortgage here is $1,500, and he has his eyes set on the next project, Union Park.
Expanding in all urban metro area markets is important because every metro area market is affected by high real estate prices and squeezing out those in the lower incomes. So we are eyeing and targeting the center of Atlanta. We have a long waiting list, an interest list of well over 3,000 of people that desire a micro home project.
In College Park, Teresa Bowles, 11 Alive News.
We are the people who built America. I don't care what Colombian cosplayer John Leguizamo says. We built America, right? It was our ingenuity that made everything about this country even better, if not greater.
I know you don't want to believe it, but we made America great first. I know America. I know it. I love it. Black people, we did it.
Sometimes y'all get caught up on that, so I just did that to trigger you. But no, in all seriousness, we have to remember it's not about how well you do in school, it's how well you do in society and how well you score at the bank.
There is not a single great achievement in this country that did not have Black people being a part of it, right? We are essential to the foundation and the longevity of America. And so I'm grateful to share the message of Black history with the rest of the country. I'm grateful that no matter what anti-DEI or anti-Blackness efforts there are out there, you cannot erase us. You cannot erase our contributions, and you can't stop us from continuing to make improvements both in our communities, in our country, and around the world. And so this Black History Month, for me, it's an opportunity to find joy, even in a dark moment.
What's going on, good people? I think a lot of people don't know me, and sometimes I get passionate about some of the things I say because I just don't understand why people gotta lie about some of the things they do or some of the things they say. So when I know somebody's lying, I know people will be like, well, you don't know when people, yes you do. You basically can tell when somebody's lying. So I just don't be liking it, and then I get upset because I just feel like if I'm grown, like, why you gotta continue to try to play in my face, right? Why you gotta try to continue to lie to me? And I know you lying and you can't be real. I just don't like people like that. I hate people who be fake and phony. We can have a discussion and we can disagree, but if you disrespect me and try to play victim, then I'm gonna disrespect you even worse. And my disrespect is not gonna be like a light disrespect. It's gonna be a disrespect that's gonna make you not want to talk to me anymore, right? But I just want to get along with everybody. Honestly, I do. And I know with some people that didn't like me, that grew to like me because they figured out that I wasn't a bad, I ain't gonna say I ain't no bad person. I'm saying they figured out that I was actually cool, right? They figured out that I was actually a cool person. I just don't be on the bullshit, right? So today I just got a serious question. And this is not to bring no division or anything like that. It's been on my mind. Okay, so I'm going to ask the question, and I just want people to respond honestly. Why in the United States of America is Black Americans looked down on to this day by other people of color and foreigners, when we are the reason why everybody of color and every foreigner that come to America have the rights that they have in America? It was our great grandparents and grandparents that fought for the freedoms that we have in this country as people of color in this country, and yet people still talk down on us in our own country. And I just want to know, why do people think that's okay to allow foreigners to continue, or other people of color to continue doing that? Why do we fight to this day to still help them? And why do they think it's okay to continue doing, even when we show all this love to people? I just want to know why. The one thing I hate the most is when someone says, well, you don't know your history, you don't know your African roots. I'm generations upon generations removed from that place, if I am from that place, because some people was already here in North America. So some people of color, some melanated people was already here. So we don't even know. I haven't done no ancestry. Maybe I am from there, maybe I'm not. I don't know, right? But at the same time, why do I have to know the history of a place that I've never been, that my mother never been, my grandmother never been, my great-great-grandmother never been, and her mother has never been? Why do I need to know the history of that place? I'm from here. I'm American. That's all I am. I'm nothing else. I'm just an American. It's crazy how Jamaicans, Dominicans, Colombians, Panamanians, Haitians, all these people could be from slavery also, but yet they get to be whatever their country is. Don't nobody argue with them and say, hey, you're African Haitian. Like, why? Why are we the only ones that's not allowed to have our thing in a place that we created, and we didn't create, but we helped build this place? Why are we not allowed to be our own people in our shit? Why when I say, oh, this is our country too, like foreigners look at me crazy. White people don't even look at us crazy for saying that. I go places. I went to Oklahoma with my friend, and white dude come to me and was like, yeah, we need to get rid of these foreigners because this is our country. And I'm just like, I'm listening to him. I'm like, yeah, you're a little racist, bro, but I understood what he was trying to say. But it's racist, right? Very racist. So I wasn't entertaining it. Yeah, it's our country, but at the same time, I'm open to people coming here because this is a place where you come to make a better life for yourself because the money is so much better here than opposed to other places, right? But my question is, why do they disrespect us still to this day and think of us as lazy and we don't take care of our children? They still think like that about us when we've shown that that's not us at all. We've shown that, when you come over here, black people are really good people, but it's still this stigma on us that we're not. And we the ones who fought for you to even be here or fought for you to have the rights that you have. It was our bloodlines that did that, right? And still, no one puts respect on black Americans, but yet they do everything we do. They take everything that we got, everything that we created, and they live a good life, but yet they don't want to respect us as black people. And, okay, if you don't want to call yourself black, I'm cool with that, but recognize you melanated and recognize we might be, we might be family from generations ago, but y'all don't do that. Y'all talk about us bad. Y'all look down on us. You know what I'm saying? I told my experience or why I stopped going to the Dominican, and all they could say was a bunch of racist BS to me because it didn't fit their squeaky clean narrative that they try to paint for everybody, because I used to actually be there on an island and I wasn't on no resort. So I seen the true place and they didn't like it. So they was coming at me. But I just want to know, why do you come to America, a place that you only can come because of black people, but you still want to disrespect the black people that made it possible for you to come here? And like I said, I don't have a problem with foreigners being here. I just think you should come here the right way, because when I go to y'all countries, when I travel, I gotta have that my passport. I gotta have all my papers, intact. If not, they're not gonna let me into the country. So I just feel it should be the same way, right? But if you've been here for years and stuff like that, I don't think you should be deported. No, I think if you built a life, here, you should stay here. You should just have to take some kind of, test, and you should pass that because you've been here, right? But other than that, I don't get mad at people for wanting better, but it seems like people don't like black Americans because of all the accomplishments we had. Like, we came from literally nothing, and we created all these great things that the world used. And the world, when I go places, everybody is trying to be like black Americans. Ain't nobody going somewhere saying, oh, let me put on a dashiki. Ain't no disrespect to Africa. I'm just saying, unless you African or unless there's somebody about to marry into Africa, don't nobody do that. But everybody around the world trying to be like us, right? And then everybody in the world shit on us for being our own people. They take our ideas, what we created, and then they tell us it's stupid, it'll never sell, and then they make billions of dollars off of it. And the same people that benefit off of the backs of black people, the black Americans, y'all shit on us, y'all talk bad about us, and y'all act like we are not the reason why you can come over here and enjoy this country, right? Y'all act like that, and y'all talk down on us. And I just want to know why. Like, what is the problem? I turn on a TikTok, it's somebody in another country talking about how they don't like black, or how black Americans this and black. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? We built this shit, and it's time y'all start recognizing the white folks didn't want y'all here. We the ones that wanted y'all here. Just remember that.
When you see this house, what does it make you feel like? No, wait, don't scroll by, don't scroll by. This is Sorrell Nassau, Attorney Sorrell Nassau, aka Dirty South History, and I make videos about my region that I live in, which is the old South. I'm trying to tell the story of the South from beginning to end, okay? And this is Twin Oaks house now. It used to be a plantation. We're in Greenville, Georgia, in Meriwether County. And Twin Oaks is a magnificent mansion. A plantation-style home is what they call it. But it's really what's known as a Greek revival home. Yeah, these houses were popular prior to the Civil War, the antebellum period, okay? And that house I just showed you, Twin Oaks, was built in the 1850s, okay? It was built in the 1850s by a guy by the name of Mr. Robinson. I believe his name was J.R. Robinson, okay? And Mr. Robinson was known as a Southern planter, which means he was a big-time slave owner, okay? And his plantation was here in this area, okay? And what it was it's my understanding that it was a 3,000-acre plantation. And he had so much money that he built this magnificent house. But I'm going to ask you again, how does this house make you feel when you see it? Because I'll be honest with you, you know, growing up here, I was always kind of conflicted about seeing such houses. On one hand, I could appreciate the grandeur and the craftsmanship of something so powerful, so beautiful, right? But then I thought about some of the things that may have gone on inside of these places, right? And once you kind of think about that, well, it makes you conflicted if you're an African American, okay? Because the thing is that while somebody was sitting on those verandas sipping mint juleps, yeah, there were people in those fields, those cotton fields, sweating from dawn to dusk, 6 days a week, while this person is chilling, collecting profits from their labor, okay? So it used to make me upset when I would see such a beautiful, magnificent house like this. But at the same time, I could appreciate beauty. And what a house like this represents is power. Because why would a single family need such space other than to represent power, okay? But here is the interesting thing that I didn't think about prior to doing some investigation, okay? I found out that the person that built this house, his name was Albert Wimbush, right? Albert Wimbush, W-I-M-B-I-S-H, okay? And they said that this man built this house to such exacting specifications that there was no leftover wood or bricks, okay? And the interesting thing about Mr. Albert Wimbush, who built this house, is Mr. Albert Wimbush was a slave. That's right, he was enslaved. And he is shown on records as the craftsman and master builder of this home. In fact, this whole structure was built by enslaved people. The bricks that made the foundation were made on this site, okay? I didn't say they were brought in, they were made. The wood that was used to build those beautiful columns and everything else, yeah, it was cut and drawn and sawn here, right? And they were all enslaved people that did it. So the master builder was African American, the laborers were African American, and the other craftsmen were African American, the carpenters, the bricklayers, all those people. So when I look at this house, I have a different perspective on it because it kind of speaks to the quality of the craftsmanship of what Mr. Wimbush and his Confederates or his cohorts did, right? And not only that, he is not the only, turns out this isn't his only house that he built down here. He actually was in demand, and he wasn't even enslaved by Mr. Robertson. He was enslaved by a Mr. Wimbush, and he built Mr. Wimbush's house also, and a number of other Southern plantation homes. So when you think about it, there's something that actually takes some level of pride in when you look at these big structures in the South. Because if I think about it deeply, yeah, they weren't going to call somebody from Europe to build these houses down here in the country. They would have their enslaved people do it. So I'm going to make the assumption, I'm going to make the small leap to assume that a lot of these majestic pieces of architectural grandeur and splendor, yeah, they were built by the enslaved people who spent their whole lives perfecting their crafts. So I want you to think about that. Once you think about when these people want to have weddings and receptions overlooking the veranda, I want you to think about how these places came to be and who built them. So, special shout out to Mr. Albert Wimbush, and I want to give a quick shout out to another creator, the Crunchy White Pimp, the Doc, because yeah, I did this in response to somebody who responded to one of his posts saying that black people didn't build anything in America. Thank you.
slaves. He was absolutely correct. If you look on a timeline, the history of the United States is still fairly brief, and slavery was abolished a mere 155 years ago. It wasn't just the White House that was built using slave labor, by the way. The building that serves as our country's political center, the United States Capitol, was built and rebuilt using slave labor after its sacking in the War of 1812. Although most northern states had abolished slavery by 1804, it's had its fair share of symbols erected using slave labor. If you're familiar with the Trinity Church in New York's financial district, you may not know that the clergy rented enslaved people to build its iconic spires, as well as the wall that used to snake down what we now know as Wall Street. Many of our forefathers were enslavers. Thomas Jefferson's entire property in Charlottesville, Virginia, Monticello, was built and run by enslaved people. Enslaved people also helped build our intellectual centers. Georgetown University, one of the country's oldest colleges, built most of its campuses after the sale of 272 enslaved people in the 1830s. Many schools with storied histories were built in part by enslaved people, including Harvard University's Law School and the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. That school's campus was maintained by slave labor until its abolishment in 1865. Poor record keeping and indifference by early historians makes it nearly impossible to know every contribution made to these buildings, but there's no doubt about how they got built.
Hi, FBAs. They are almost claiming the country built. Do not sit down there and say, oh, you don't know how to create content. Please, if you have not created content before, please start creating content, okay? Start going on your social media pages to write it down. We built this country. We are not going to sit down here and watch you claim it, okay? Do not sit down and watch people who knows nothing about it come claim it. Why would they start saying immigrants did? Why? It's not immigrants, please. Black Americans did. I myself, I am just even getting to know that even down to the White House was built by Black ancestors. Wow. Don't allow people claim it. This was built on your own sweat, your blood. Do not allow people take over it like that. Black Americans are the true blueprints of the world, not just blacks. These people single-handedly built that country that you see. Oh, America is the most beautiful country in the world. Oh, America is this. It was built by them. Stop claiming what you don't know. Stop trying to claim it. Stop trying to take their shine. They built America. Please, I don't like it. And as long as I still keep seeing people post videos about it, I will still come here and I will still say no. I'll call them out and I'll tell them it's a lie. You people are liars. You didn't build nothing. You people were not the ones that we have been beaten. You people were not the ones that we have been, a lot of things were being done to. How dare you say you built it? You built what? What did you even know about America? You didn't build anything. Salute them. I know a lot of you want these people in your country so that they can come and build your country. That's okay. You can beg them because America is a true example that Black Americans can build anything and it becomes the absolute best. Yeah. They are called the foundational Black Americans. They built America. I don't want to hear anybody say that again. I don't want to. Have you seen people doing videos like that? Let me see in the comments, right? Please tag me in the comments. Let's keep sharing the video. Watch and comment so this video, the algorithm can take it far. So people can actually see that, no, you guys did it and you guys deserve the accolade forever and ever, right? Have you subscribed? Go ahead, subscribe, like now. It's Global Gist with BJ. My name is Blessing, your sister, right? Your friend, and anything you want me to be, your daughter, anything, right? In one. I love you all and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye, guys.